welcome to Basic Electrical Engineering. In this lecture, we will discuss about the operating principle and EMF equation of DC generators. So let's start. The DC generator is one kind of electrical machine, and the main function of this machine is to convert the mechanical energy into DC electrical energy. The working principle of the DC generator is basically based on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. That is, E is equal to minus N d phi by dt, which states that if any conductor experiences a change in flux, then an EMF will be induced in the conductor. So, like all other generators, the DC generator is also works based on this principle. That is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So, when a conductor is cut by the changing magnetic field, then an EMF gets induced within the conductor. That is the Faraday law. The magnitude of the induced EMF can be measured from the equation of the electromotive force of a generator that we will discuss later in this class. And if the conductor makes a closed path, then the current will flow in the path because of this induced EMF. The direction of this current can be provided by Fleming's right hand rule. So basically, the Fleming's right hand rule is used to find out the direction of the current that is produced in a generator. So here in this figure, we can see that we have already discussed in the construction classes that there is a stator pole and these are the field windings. So when the current is flowing through this field winding, the magnetic poles will be developed here. So it will be in alternate way. Let's say this is the north pole, it will be the south pole, then again it will be the north pole and it will be the south pole. So now this magnetic field, this flux will flow from stator to rotor through the air gap. So when this flux flows from north pole to south pole, it will cut the rotor conductor, and if the rotor conductor is to rotate by some external prime mover, then the flux which cuts each and every conductor of the rotor, they will experience a change in flux because the position of the conductor will be changed when it is rotating. So the flux cut the conductor will also change with respect to the time. Therefore, according to the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, the EMF will be induced in the armature conductor or the rotor conductor. Now, if the armature conductor is connected to the external circuit, so it makes the closed path, and as the closed path is there, then the current will start to flow from armature winding to the external circuit. Remember one thing, when the current is flowing from armature winding to the external circuit, it will pass through the commutator, and this commutator will change the EMF which is produced in the armature from AC to DC, because by using the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, the EMF produced is always AC in nature. So commutator will convert this AC EMF to DC EMF, and unidirectional current will flow to the external circuit. So this is the basic operating principle of the DC generator. It can further be discussed by some figures. So let's see. So here two magnetic poles are shown here, and one coil of the armature winding are placed there. So when this armature winding is rotating within this magnetic field, because it is a permanent magnet, so the magnetic flux will be constant. And when this conductor rotates, when this coil rotates within this magnetic field, each side of this conductor will be cut by the flux. And when it is rotating, then their position will be changed. And as the position of the conductor changes, then the flux that will link the conductor side will also change. Therefore, according to the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, the EMF will be induced in each side of the conductor. Remember here the EMF that will be induced in the conductor where the part of the conductor is perpendicular to the magnetic field. That means in this case the EMF will be induced in AB side as well as in CD side. So these are the coil side or we can say the conductor. As here we have used only one turn. So here one turn means two conductors because the EMF will be induced in AB side as well as in CD side. So it is considered as two conductors. So for one turn it will be two conductors and it will produce the EMF where the EMF will be alternating in nature. But this EMF is collected from commutator segment, then to the brush, and then to the external circuit. So basically, when the alternating current is supplying from armature winding to the commutator and then through the brush, its polarity will be unidirectional, and this alternating voltage will be converted to a DC voltage. So, an unidirectional current will get. So here is the concept shown. The first in first case the coil side AB is under the north pole and the CD is under the south pole. And if it is rotating in anticlockwise along its axis, then according to the uh, Fleming's right hand rule, we can find the polarity. So according to this polarity, we will see the direction of the current in AB side will be from A to B, whereas the direction of the current from C to D in the opposite side. And this current will be now collected from D to the segment E of the commutator. The commutator segment E is connected to the brush Y. So the current will be flowing here and it will be from right to left to the load. Then this current will again pass from the brush X, then the commutator segment F, and it will be returned to the circuit. So this is the complete direction of the current, complete path of the current when the coil AB is under the north pole and CD is under the south pole. Now after 180 degree, when the coil rotates 180 degree, then the CD side will be under the north pole and AB side will be under the south pole. But here you can see that the commutator segment also changes its position because the CD side conductor is always connected to the commutator segment E and AB side is connected to the segment F. So when the coil rotates, along with the commutator segment will also rotate. So CD is always connected to segment E and AB is always connected to segment F. But remember here the brushes are fixed. Brushes are stationary in its position. So it is always X and this is Y. Now when the CD side is under the north pole and AB side is under the south pole, now the EMF which is induced in CD and AB that will be reversed compared to the earlier case. So in earlier case when the CD side is under the south pole, the direction of the current was downward, that is from C to D. But when the CD side will come under the north pole, then as the flux direction changes, then according to the Fleming's right hand rule, the EMF induced in CD side conductor will also be changes. Therefore, now the current will flow from D to C. So the current direction reverses. And similarly, the conductor AB, when it was under the north pole, the current was flowing from A to B. But when after rotation it comes under the south pole, now the current direction will be from B to A. Remember, the coil is continuously rotating on its axis in the same direction, that is in the angular anticlockwise direction. So now the AB side current is downward, and this AB side conductor is connected to the commutator segment F. And now commutator segment F is connected to the brass Y. So again the current will flow from this side, and again the current will flow to the load from right to the left, and then this current will supply to the brass X, then the commutator segment Y, and then it will passes to the conductor. So the path will be completed. So here we can see that as the conductor is continuously rotating, then the commutator segment is also rotating along with this conductor, and each conductor is connected to individual commutator segment, but the brushes are fixed in its position. So when the conductor is under a certain pole, their direction of the current will be in a particular uh, direction. For example, here under the north pole it is from A to B, and when it is under the south pole it is from B to A. But in both the cases, as the commutator is also rotating and the connection to the external load to the machine through the brass and commutator, so the direction of the current through the load is always unidirectional. It is always from right to left. So you can say the EMF which is induced in the conductor, it is AC in nature, but when the current is flowing to the external load, it is always unidirectional. That is the DC in nature. The direction of the current can be identified by Fleming's right-hand rule. So here again we can recall the Fleming's right-hand rule. So if we stretch the thumb, first finger and the second finger of the right hand, then the thumb indicates the direction of the motion of the coil. The first finger indicates the direction of the magnetic field. So the middle finger indicates, the second finger indicates the direction of the current or the induced current. So the current direction can be identified by using this Fleming's right-hand rule. Now remember one thing, if either of these two parameters change its direction, let's say the direction of the magnetic field changes. Initially it was in the forward direction, but if the magnetic field changes and if the direction of the motion remains constant, then the direction of the current will be reversed. So the current direction will be now in the reverse direction. So if either of these two directions changes, then the direction of the EMF will also changes, and that is happening here. But using commutator, we can convert this alternating EMF or alternating current to a unidirectional DC current. Let's discuss about the EMF equation of the DC generator. So here a schematic diagram of the DC generator has shown. This is the pole in the stator. There are four number of poles, and here is the field winding. The current is supplied to the field winding, so the magnetic field is produced. So this is the north pole, then south pole, then again north pole and south pole. So the flux will start to flow from north to south through the air gap, and it will cut the rotor conductor. The rotor, the armature, is made to rotate using some external prime mover. And here we consider there is only one conductor on the armature. Actually, there are number of slots in the periphery of the armature core, and there are lots of conductors, armature conductors are distributed throughout the periphery. But for the time being, we are considering there is only one conductor on the armature. So let's consider P is the number of poles in the stator. Here, four poles are given general, we can consider there will be p number of poles in the stator to make the concept generalized. And we consider phi is the flux per pole in Weber. Here, from the north pole, the flux is coming out, and in the south pole, the flux is entering. So we are considering phi is the flux per pole, whether it is the incoming or outgoing flux. Consider there are total Z number of conductors on the armature. Although we have considered only one conductor here, but actually there will be many number of conductors on the armature slot, and we consider Z number of total armature conductors are there. Remember one thing, the conductors in the armature are basically placed in coils. So the one turn is basically considered as two conductors. So if there is Z number of conductors, that means there will be Z by 2 number of turns, because one turn means there are two conductors. We consider the rotor is rotating with a speed of n rpm. In case of generator, the rotor will be coupled to some external prime mover, and this prime mover will make the rotor to rotate. And we assume the speed of the rotor here is n rpm. And A is the number of parallel paths in the armature winding. The number of parallel paths is basically considered as the number of brushes. We have already discussed in construction when the connection of the armature winding is lap. For lap connection, the number of parallel paths will be equal to the number of poles in the stator. Whereas in case of wave connection, the number of parallel paths will be always equal to 2. We can also consider it as the number of brushes. Here, the total Z number of conductors are basically distributed under a number of parallel paths. That means Z by a number of conductors, the bunch of conductors will be connected to individual brushes. So now, when this rotor is rotating with only one conductor, and when this rotor makes one complete rotation, it will come under 4 number of poles, because here we are using 4 poles in this machine. So when this conductor is rotating 360 degree, it will come under each and every pole. So therefore, if there is p number of poles for one complete rotation, the conductor will pass under p number of poles, and the flux of each pole is basically considered as phi. So when this conductor makes one complete rotation, that is 360-degree rotation, it passes under p number of poles, and the flux from each pole is phi. Therefore, the flux cut by one conductor in one complete revolution of the armature can be written as P into phi. In general, P is the number of poles and phi is the flux per pole. So this will be the total amount of flux that will cut the conductor for one complete rotation. Now, as we consider the rotor is rotating with a speed of n rpm, that is n number of revolution in 1 minute. Therefore, the number of revolution will be made by the conductor in 1 second can be written as n by 60. N rpm means n number of rotation in 1 minute. Therefore, in 1 second, the number of rotation will be n by 60. So, the flux cut by each conductor per second can be written as P into phi into n by 60, because when one conductor makes one complete rotation, P phi amount of flux cut the conductor, and in 1 second, if the conductor makes n by 60 rotations, so in 1 second the total amount of flux that will cut the conductor will be P phi N by 60 Weber per second. So the average EMF induced in one conductor, represented by small e, is equal to P phi N upon 60 volts. If we recall the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction, that is E equal to minus N d phi by dt, where phi is the flux in Weber and t is the time in second. So this parameter is basically Weber per second, whereas it creates the EMF and its unit is considered as volts. So this is the amount of EMF induced in one conductor when the armature is rotating with the speed of n rpm. Now, the number of conductors connected in series in each parallel path can be written as Z upon A, because as we have already discussed, Z is the total number of conductors and A is the number of parallel paths. So Z by A conductors will come under each parallel path, and the EMF that is induced in Z by A number of parallel Z by A number of conductors will be of same polarity. So therefore, the total EMF induced in the generator between the terminals can be written as the EMF induced in one conductor, that is P phi N upon 60, N2 number of conductors per parallel path. Therefore, we can write the EMF induced in a DC generator can be written as Z phi P N upon 60A. So this is the formula of the EMF of a DC generator. So as we have already discussed, the EMF induced in a DC generator is Z phi P N upon 60A. Here Z is the number of conductors in the armature, which is constant for a particular machine. P is the number of poles in stator, again the value is constant. A is the number of parallel paths. In case of lap connection, we have already discussed, in case of a lap connection, the value of A will be equal to P, and in case of wave connection, the value of A will be always equal to 2. So depending upon the type of the armature winding, the value of A is also constant. Therefore, we can say the E is basically proportional to flux and the speed of the machine. Because all other parameters are constant, so the EMF induced in the rotor will be always proportional to flux and the speed of the machine. Here, the polarity of the induced EMF depends upon the direction of the magnetic field and the direction of the rotation. Because from Fleming's right-hand rule, you can find out the direction of the current, that means the polarity of the induced EMF. If either of these two is reversed, that means in Fleming's right-hand rule that we have already seen earlier, if either of the value of motion, let's say this is the motion, this is the magnetic field, and this is the direction of the current. So either of the motion or the magnetic field is reversed, then the direction of the current, that means the polarity of the induced EMF will also be reversed. And if both the parameters are reversed, that means the motion as well as the magnetic field is changed, then the direction of the current, that means the polarity of the induced EMF, will remain unchanged. The induced EMF is the fundamental phenomenon to all DC machines, whether they are operating as a generator or as a motor. But when the machine is operating as a generator, the induced EMF is considered as a generated EMF and it is represented as EG. It will be Z phi Pn upon 60A. This is in case of generator. That is the EMF which is generated in the armature. On the other hand, in case of motor, the DC motor, again when the rotor is rotating because of the motoring action, the EMF will be induced in the armature winding, but here it will be considered as a back EMF because here the induced EMF will try to oppose its cause. That means it will try to oppose the rotation of the rotor. But as the EMF is induced because of the generating action, then again the value of the induced EMF will be same as that of the generator. So remember one thing, the EMF will be induced in armature winding whether the machine is working as a motor or as a generator. But when it is working as a generator, it will be considered as a generated EMF represented by EG, and when it is working as a motor, it will be considered as a back EMF represented by EB. So this is all about the operating principle and EMF equation of the DC generator. Let's try to solve some numerical questions on this topic. So here is the first question. A 4-pole wave-connected armature has 728 conductors and flux per pole is 35 milliweber. So calculate the EMF generated when the machine is running at 1800 RPM. So the solution is here. In this question, the number of pole is given as 4. The armature conductor is 728. That means the value of Z. Flux per pole is 35 milliweber. So phi is 35 milliweber, or we can write it as 0.035 Weber. And the speed of the machine is 1800 RPM. So the speed is 1800 RPM. And here the machine is connected as a wave. So we know that the generated EMF is represented by Z phi Pn upon 60A. So here Z is 728, phi is 0.035, P is 4, and the speed is 1800 RPM upon 60 into A. As it is wave connected, so the value of A will be equal to 2. Although the pole is 4, but as the connection is wave connection, so the value of A will be equal to 2. So after solving all these parameters, we will get the induced EMF as 1528.8 volts. So this is the generated EMF of the machine. Second question. A DC generator has the armature EMF 100 volt when the useful flux per pole is 20 milliweber and the speed is 800 RPM. So calculate the generated EMF with the same flux and the speed of 1000 RPM, and in second case with a flux per pole of 24 milliweber and the speed is 900 RPM. So let's see the solution. We have already seen the generated EMF EG is equal to Z phi Pn upon 60A. And if all values are constant, then Eg can be written as proportional to flux and the speed. So in first condition, the generated EMF Eg1 is equal to 100 volt. The flux per pole in first condition is 20 milliweber, that means 0.02 Weber, and the speed for the first condition is 800 rpm. So these are the value given. So in first part of the question, we have to calculate the generated EMF with the same flux, but the speed is 1000 rpm. So from this relation, we can write generated EMF for second case upon generated EMF for first case, and it should be equal to flux for the second case into speed for the second case upon flux for the first case and speed for the first case. So by using the relations, we can find this value. Now here the generated EMF for the second case can be written as Eg1 into phi 2 N2 by phi 1 N1. Now the generated EMF Eg2 will be equal to Eg1, and the value of Eg1 is 100. Here the flux will be same. In the first part of the question, the flux will remain same. That means phi 1 and phi 2 will remain same. So these two will be cancelled. The speed for the second case is 1000 and speed for the first case is 800. That is N2 is 1000. Here is N2 and the initial speed was 800 rpm. So after solving, we will get the induced EMF as 125 volt. So this is the generated EMF of the machine. This is the answer for the first part. Now in the second part, we can write the relations again. Eg1 upon let's say Eg3 upon Eg1, and it will be phi 3 N3 upon phi 1 N1. This is because of Eg is proportional to flux into speed. Generated EMF is proportional to flux into speed. So for the third case, it will be proportional to flux of the third case and the speed of the third case. So we can write in this way. So therefore, the generated EMF in the second part of the question is Eg1 N2 phi 3 N3 upon phi 1 N1, where Eg1 is 100. The flux for the second case is 24 milliweber, which can be written as 0.024, and the speed for the second case is 900 rpm. So it is 900 upon first flux, that is phi 1 is 20 milliweber, that means 0.02, and the speed for the first case was 800 rpm. So therefore, after solving all these values, we will get the generated EMF as 135 volt. So this is the generated EMF of the machine. This is the answer of the second part of the question. The third question. A 4-pole lap connected armature has 144 slots with 2 coil sides per slot, each coil having 2 turns. If the flux per pole is 20 milliweber and the armature rotates at 720 rpm, what is the induced EMF? Let's see the solution. As we know, the generated EMF is equal to Z phi Pn upon 60A. Here the Z is total number of conductors, but here in the armature there are 144 slots. In each slot there are two coil sets, and for each coil we have two number of turns. So in each slot there will be two turns, and one turn means two conductors. So ultimately the total conductor in the armature will be 144 into 2 into 2, that is 576. This is the total conductor in the armature. It is a lap connected machine. So the P is 4 and the parallel path will also be equal to pole, that is 4. The flux per pole is given here 20 milliweber, or we can write 0.02 Weber, and speed of the machine is 720 RPM. So now the generated EMF can be calculated as Z, that is 572.76 into flux per pole, that is 0.02 into the number of pole and speed 720 upon 60 into A, where A is the number of parallel paths, and in case of lap connection it will be equal to 4. So after solving this, we will get the generated EMF as 138.24 volts. So this is the generated EMF of this machine. This is the answer. The next question is, what will be the change in induced EMF in the armature of a DC generator if the flux is reduced by 20% and speed is increased by 20%? Here no other values are given, only here it is given as the flux will be reduced by 20% and the speed will be increased by 20%. Then what will be the change in induced EMF? So we all know that the generated EMF is proportional to flux into speed. So for first case we can write Eg1 is proportional to phi 1 into N1. Now if the flux is reduced by 20%, therefore for second case the flux will be only 80% of the initial flux. So phi 2 will be equal to 0.8 of phi 1. And similarly, the speed is increased by 20%. So the speed in the second condition will be 20% more than the speed of the initial condition. It will be 1.2 of N1. So now the generated EMF for the second case upon the generated EMF for the first case can be written as phi 2 N2 upon phi 1 N1. So here phi 2 is 0.8 of phi 1 and N2 is 1.2 of N1 upon phi 1 into N1. So these two will be cancelled and we will get the value as 0.96. So Eg2 by Eg1 is equal to 0.96, or we can write Eg2 is equal to 0.96 of Eg1. That means the generated EMF in the second condition will be 0.96 or 96% of the generated EMF in the first condition. So the answer will be the EMF will be reduced by 4%. That means the final EMF will be 96% of the initial EMF. So the EMF will be reduced by 4%. So this is the answer. That's all. Thank you.